Tonight, we will take a gentle stroll with death. Yes, that death, tall, skeletal, black robes, possibly holding a scythe, but don't worry, he's just here to talk. This is not the part where you die, it's the part where you learn. Because death, contrary to reputation, is a surprisingly good teacher. Firm but fair, never interrupts, arrives exactly once, right on time. And what does he teach? That everything you love will end, that you will too, and that this is not a tragedy, it is a syllabus. We live in a culture that avoids death like an overdue bill. We hide it behind euphemisms, passed away, gone to a better place, sleeping peacefully. But death is not shy, we are. We pile distraction upon distraction, hoping the grim reaper won't notice us scrolling. But tonight, in the dark stillness of this moment, you've chosen not to run. You're lying here, maybe half asleep, maybe fully awake at 3:17 a.m., with an existential itch under your skin, and you've decided to face the thing that most people spend their lives pretending isn't coming. Death. Not as an enemy, but as a mirror. You see, there's an odd comfort in it. Everyone dies. The cat, the baker, the pope, you, me. Probably that guy who invented the banana slicer. It's a democratic process, very inclusive. And what if I told you that this very awareness, this absurd, undeniable fact of your mortality, was not a source of fear but a doorway to clarity? Epicurus, a cheerful Greek who died in excruciating pain, said, "When we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we no longer exist." Meaning, you're not invited to your own funeral. So why waste tonight fearing something that, by definition, you cannot experience? We practice death every night. It's called sleep. You do it with a teddy bear and ambient whale noises. This isn't about dying. This is about living better. So settle in. We have things to learn from the end. Let death pour the tea. Let your breath slow. Let go of your need for permanence. This is not morbid. This is the beginning of wisdom. Now that you're cozy, let's meet our next teacher. A grumpy German man who wore tweed and thought a lot about being with a capital B, Martin Heidegger. Heidegger had a radical idea. Maybe death isn't the grim finale, but the defining feature of life itself. He called it being toward death, which sounds like something you'd mutter at a goth poetry night, but bear with me. This isn't about being morbid, it's about being free. Heidegger said most people live in denial. We avoid death by pretending it only happens to other people. We scroll, we binge, we distract ourselves into a coma of comfortable inauthenticity. He called this avoidance the they self, as in, they die, they get old, they have funerals. Not me, not tonight. But authenticity, the real stuff, the marrow of your life, starts when you acknowledge that death is not optional, not distant, not theoretical. It's yours, uniquely yours. No one can die your death for you. It's the one appointment on your calendar that will never cancel. And knowing that, it's liberation. Because once you admit you're going to die, you stop living like you'll live forever. You stop wasting time auditioning for the approval of people you wouldn't trust to water your plants. You start asking different questions. Is this how I want to spend my day? Does this job, this relationship, this hobby, does it matter? If I were to die tomorrow, would I be proud of how I spent tonight? Heidegger's advice was alarmingly specific. Spend more time in graveyards. That's not just because the rent is low and the neighbors are quiet. It's because standing among the dead reminds you to stop pretending you're not one of them. Eventually. So tonight, let death peel away the inessential. Let it pull back the curtain on the circus of your life. not to depress you, but to free you. Because if you can stare into the void and say, "Yes, I see you," then maybe, just maybe, you'll start to live like your time actually matters. And isn't that a better use of the night than doom-scrolling TikToks until your soul gives up and downloads LinkedIn again? Now let's look at death through the clean, rational lens of Epicurus, who, despite being ancient and inevitably deceased, would make an excellent sleep therapist. His pitch was simple. Death is not scary, it's just misunderstood. He argued quite cheerfully that death is nothing to us, and not in a nihilistic, nothing matters sort of way, but in a deeply comforting, logic is your security blanket sort of way. Here's the pitch. When we are, death is not. When death is, we are not. It's the philosophical equivalent of telling your brain to take a warm bath. Think about it. You weren't around for the French Revolution, the Big Bang, or the invention of the potato peeler, and yet you've never lost sleep over your absence. Epicurus says death is the same, a return to the untroubled, pre-you void. Nothingness isn't scary, it's neutral, like an eternal nap without that one weird dream where your teeth fall out. His disciple Lucretius took it further. Look at the time before your birth. Were you distressed, agitated, filing complaints with cosmic customer service? Number. You simply weren't. So why panic about returning to that? Even Epicurus's own death was on brand. Suffering from kidney stones, yes, painful ones. He remained cheerful and reflective, penning letters of tranquility like the world's most serene Yelp reviewer. He left us with a beautiful epitaph. Non fui, non sum, non curo. I was not. I was. I am not. I do not care. There is peace in that, a shrug of the soul, a sigh of cosmic indifference that sounds suspiciously like relief. So tonight, as you drift, remember this. You're already good at dying. You do it every night when you fall asleep. You vanish. You stop. And somehow, it's peaceful. Let death be like that, a familiar ritual, a letting go. Let's talk about the countdown. Not to death itself, but to everything. Your favorite season, that friend you haven't seen in a while, the number of times you'll hear your mum laugh again, all finite, all numbered. And this, oddly, is what makes them matter. See, infinity is boring, it breeds apathy, but mortality makes poets out of us. Because when something can end, we lean in closer. It's like the last slice of cake, the final scene of a film, the final breath of a song before it fades into silence. That's where the beauty lives. Psychologists have studied this. They call it the scarcity principle, the urgency effect. We call it being human. Knowing we die makes us act. It makes us care. It makes us pick up the phone, write the book, say the thing. It turns someday into, maybe I should start tonight. Viktor Frankl, survivor of camps and champion of meaning, said we must give meaning to life by responding to it. And we only bother responding because we know we won't get another try. You don't get infinite takes. This isn't a blooper reel. It's the one cut that makes it to print. So what does this awareness give you? Clarity, direction, presence, the precious gift of priority. When death stands over your shoulder, you stop caring about Instagram likes and start caring about whether you laughed today, whether you were kind, whether you remembered to look at the moon. And when you realize the people you love are also dying, slowly but inevitably, you start paying attention to the way they stir their tea, or mispronounce oregano, or always leave the last fry. Mortality sharpens the lens, and suddenly you see the whole damn miracle of it all. The point isn't to panic, It's to notice, to live like you mean it, because even the stars will burn out, and knowing that doesn't make them less beautiful. It makes them sublime. Before you drift off completely, let's let two ancient traditions tuck you in, the Stoics and the Buddhists. Together, they whisper something simple. You're going to die, and that's okay. The Stoics practiced death like it was flossing, unpleasant to think about, but good for the soul. Marcus Aurelius would lie in bed and say, "You may not wake up." Seneca replied, "And if you do, live well." Balance your life's books before sleep. These weren't morbid affirmations. They were motivational. Mortality not as threat, but reminder. You've made it through another day. You have one less day to waste. And in the morning, if fortune favors you again, you get to try a little harder, love a little deeper, notice a little more. The Buddhists go even softer. They say all things change. A cloud doesn't die. It becomes rain, mist, fog, something else. You too are part of this shifting pattern. A breath borrowed from stardust. A moment in a body that is always becoming something new. So tonight, practice dying gently. Let go of your stories, your schedules, your anxieties with soft hands. Feel your breath ebb like a wave. Feel your thoughts loosen. You don't have to hold on all night. There's nowhere to go, nothing to solve. Just this moment, just this breath, just this strange, beautiful, temporary being. You. Sleep well, mortal creature. You've earned your rest.